folks, TheFilipinaPea here. And today I've got something that will interest any of you guys who engage in online dating. Once you finish creating your profiles and hit that submit button, most of you wonder just how us ladies are going to perceive you. Did you use the right pictures? Did you create the right impression that's gonna catch the eye of someone interesting? What should you use as your opening line to get the conversation started? Well, I just completed some illuminating research that may shed a little light on the answers. For the past 3 days, I've been conducting an experiment. I posted my profiles on several of the major dating sites. I'm not gonna name them, so don't ask. I represented myself accurately, but without much detail, and collected the responses that I received. I didn't answer any of them, and I deleted my accounts after 72 hours. I got 243 replies, and when I reviewed them, I noticed certain themes among the men's profiles that contacted me, and I grouped them into different categories based not on their appearance or age, but on their approaches and the impressions I had of how they presented themselves. Then I enlisted the help of some friends of various ages and personalities to give me their feedback on some of the men that contacted me. I didn't show them any of the pictures because I didn't want the man's looks to be a factor. But I described the type of photos as objectively as I could and read the corresponding messages aloud. Then I asked them to rate the profiles and messages on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being totally disinterested and 10 being, "Oh my God, please give me his number." Finally, I averaged the scores within each category to get a better look at what types of profiles were the most successful. Hopefully, this research will give you guys some useful clues as to what works and what doesn't when trying to attract a Filipina. So let's look at each type of profile and the overall score it received. This is gonna be very interesting. The Adrenaline Junkie. Overall score, 5.8. When we click on your profile, we're immediately bombarded with pictures of you on top of Mount Everest, in a submarine at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, or skydiving from a weather balloon at 50,000 feet. If you're an adrenaline junkie, have a passion for extreme sports, and are looking for the Bonnie to your Clyde, that's cool. Be proud of it and own it. But understand that if you're trying to appeal to simple provincial girls, or even most Filipinas in general, you're more likely to scare us off because we assume you'll want us to do these things too, and that we might not measure up to your expectations. Very few of us have had an opportunity to do any of these things, and most of us don't really want to. It may look like a great way to impress us with your physical abilities, but photos of you wrestling an alligator might be a bit too much. The Novelist. Overall score, 5.0. After you start getting to know someone, it's nice to be able to fill in all the blanks by finding out their entire life story. It helps you understand them better. You learn what makes them tick, and you begin to feel closer to them. But when their first message is a 10-page essay that reads like a book report, it feels less like a bonding experience and more like a homework assignment. I don't know you yet. I haven't gotten to the point where I care about you yet. And now you've given me the responsibility of reading, comprehending, and writing a response to a novel that I didn't want to read in the first place? No thanks. I prefer a short trailer to entire feature-length film, and if I like what I see, I'll buy a ticket and sit through the whole thing. But if it gets boring, I reserve the right to leave early. Mr. Moneybags. Overall score, 7.1. Every woman knows Mr. Moneybags. Every line in his messages, every photo in his profile is centered around his net worth instead of his worth as a caring partner. Yes, financial security is a very positive thing. But when a man posts too many pictures of his new Corvette being loaded onto his Learjet, women can actually find him shallow and not the best choice for a partner. In fact, I noticed that in profiles that exhibited extreme cases of moneybaggery, the scores actually started to go down, which I found to be very interesting. Overall though, advertising your wealth does seem to work, and the figures don't lie. And I guess that's why you do it. But good luck with the scammers. The Zookeeper. Overall score, 6.8. This guy must be the cousin of Steve Irwin. Every single photo has an adorable kitten curled up on his shoulder, a little puppy asleep on his lap, or a pet chinchilla perched on the top of his head. Now, a woman instinctively knows that animals are very good judges of character. So if they like him, we should like him too, right? But is he really a dog's best friend? Or is this just some slick ploy to get us looking at that picture of that little kitty riding around on the handlebars of his bicycle? That is so cute and so sneaky because it works. The Comedian. Overall score, 7.2. Now, if I'd been voting, I would have given The Comedian high marks because I appreciate quick wit. But you'll find that humor is so different here that it often doesn't work as you intend it to. And although the girl you're chatting with might respond with a smiling emoji, she sometimes has no clue what you're talking about. If you ask her if she's a magician because when you look at her, everything else disappears, she might send an angry reply that she doesn't dabble in the occult. If you ask her if she's tired because she's been running through your mind all day, she'll probably send you her sleep schedule and assure you that she's well rested. And if you tell her that she's so perfect that the only thing you want to change is her last name, she's going to ask you, "What's wrong with my last name?" Depending on who you're talking to, it's best to avoid sarcasm, puns, and lengthy jokes. Keep the comedy light and easy, and just project an upbeat personality. Everyone likes a happy person, even unhappy people. The Narcissist. Overall score, 5.9. You know the guy. He talks about pumping iron at the gym and his balls-to-the-wall fitness program. He's all about his body, and he really thinks you'll be blown away by his shirtless selfies in the bathroom mirror with his shorts pulled down to his pubic hair. But we don't want a guy who looks at himself more than he looks at us. A guy who's never met a mirror he didn't like. It's great to keep in shape and have a good physique. But being obsessed with your own appearance is no more attractive to us than a woman who spends an hour in the bathroom every morning doing her nails and makeup so that she feels comfortable running to the 7-Eleven for a meal. Don't make your profile all about how studly you are. It's a turn-off everywhere except Tinder. I take that back. It's even a turn-off there too. The Butterfly. Overall score, 3.8. The butterfly usually makes his intentions known from the start with terms like "no strings attached" and "for fun times only." But judging by the scores these guys receive, they probably aren't getting much fun at all. Basically, what they're asking is that women give up the goods without getting anything but physical pleasure in return. And newsflash, even in the Philippines, most women can get sex anytime, anywhere, with almost anyone. It's like advertising free snow to a Norwegian. So, flutter by, butterfly. The Sugar Daddy. Overall score, 6.2. Unlike the butterfly, the Sugar Daddy actually has something to offer besides sex, which is probably why their score almost doubled by comparison. Sugar Daddies usually offer an arrangement that includes a comfortable place to stay, all the food you can eat, maybe some travel and vacations, all for free, in exchange for companionship. Marriage is off the table, but sex on the table sure isn't off the table. Filipinas know what kind of a deal this is, but at least it's pretty straightforward, with no games to play, and because of the situation here in this country, the strategy often works. It's not the ideal situation, but it'll work, for now, until something better comes along. The Apologist. Overall score, 3.7. This guy projects the image of someone who doesn't value himself very highly. And if he doesn't, why should we? His messages often start with things like, "I'm so sorry to bother you," and "I hope it's okay to ask you this," and "You don't have to answer if you don't want to." While it's obvious that he's trying to be polite and respectful, he almost gives the impression that he finds himself annoying. And if he does, then why shouldn't we? There are men who are polite but confident, And then there's the apologist. One of those is attractive and one is not. I'll let you guess which is which. The traditionalist. Overall score, 8.1. And finally, probably to no one's surprise, the highest score goes to the men who present themselves as looking for the more traditional relationships. And there were quite a few of them that replied to my profile. They're often religious. They usually see marriage as the desired end goal, and their plans sometimes include more children. Many, but not all of them, seem to have very specific gender roles in mind, and were very direct in their messages. Not as much humor, not as many furry animals, no selfies at the gym, but an offer of security and a future. And ultimately, I guess that's what it's all about for a woman in general, and a Filipina in particular. So what did we learn from all this? What does the ultimate profile look like? What can you do to make your online profile more attractive? Well, we learned that there are certain characteristics that you men feature in your dating profiles that can either attract or repel as Filipinas, and that there can't be too much of a good thing. Traits like confidence, humor, financial stability, a soft spot for soft animals, these things create an image of someone we might want to get to know better, as long as you don't overdo it. Do these traits sound familiar? Well, they should, since they seem to be universally appealing to women in almost any country. But the unique situation of culture and economics here in the Philippines means that some of these factors are even more desirable, like solid plans for the future and financial security, and others are less interesting to Filipinas, like weightlifter's body or penchant for extreme sports. Now, I'm not suggesting that you lie or alter your basic personality in your profiles, but there's nothing wrong with accentuating your positive traits and minimizing the mistakes you might be making. My advice? Be yourself, but be aware of how women perceive you. Be confident, polite, sound positive, upbeat, but don't give us a book to read when you make contact. And for God's sake, when you're about to upload that shirtless picture of you in the bathroom, hit delete instead. That just doesn't work here. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed my little experiment, and I'll have something fresh for you by the weekend. Till next time. Okay, girls, I'll read the profile while you input your score electronically. You can change your score at any time during the process. First, here's the message I got. Hi, Sunshine. I couldn't help but notice your smile and beautiful long hair, and your profile was so unique and captivating that I was compelled to say hello. And here's the info he posted. He's a divorced Australian surgeon who just got released after 6 years in prison. He likes to travel, and he often sails his yacht to New Zealand to visit his 2 ex-wives and 5 young children. And now for the photos. The first one is a selfie of him doing this pose in the mirror. The next one is him at a bar surrounded by a group of pretty young women. At least I think they're women. And the last one is him without a shirt on, holding a beer in one hand and a big old fish in the other. Okay, well, lock in that final score, and would anyone like his number? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? 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 Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? If you think about it, I'm kind of like your maid, helping you clean up the mess from past relationships and wiping away those doubts about dating here in the Philippines. The only thing I ask in return is that you leave a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to my channel. If you do, you will have made my day. And while I'm working, please enjoy some of my other videos too. See you real soon. Comment aimez-vous ma tenue? Répétez cette question en anglais pour gagner.